Hello, YouTubers. Today I thought I'd do something even different, really. I'm not going to look at anything guitar related. Well, I kind of am. I'm not going to be looking at anything playing related. I'm going to be looking at all the lovely effects and amps and stuff that you see people having on the floor. I was going to run you through kind of a good setup for it. So, I'll take this off here. So, what we've got, this here is my basic setup for most of the gigs that I do. I've got all my pedals mounted onto a board here, which is covered in Velcro on each of these bands here. You can't really see them because they're all all the pedals are on them. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bands with Velcro on it. Each pedal has then got the male equivalent on the underside. This is kind of the fuzzy side, and then under the pedals, if you can see, you've got little strips here of Velcro, so it sticks to it. This is made by a company called Pedal Train. I think one of these you get this case with it as well. I think they cost about £80 or £90. But if you're a serious gigging musician, or you want to be, it's well worth the cash. So what I run into, straight from the guitar, I run into this, which is a Crybaby, a wah-wah pedal. If you don't know what one of those is, just listen to the first 30 seconds of Voodoo Chili by Jimi Hendrix and you'll hear it. Going into that is a Boss tuner. If I was only to take one pedal with me on stage, it would be this bad boy. I've seen so many bands who either don't have stage tuners or they try and tune it on stage, which is just horrendous. Don't do that. That's a big no-no. What this does is when you turn the pedal on by pushing down there, the little light comes on, and when you start playing a string, letters and dials and stuff start telling you how in tune or out of tune you are, and it also cuts the sound so that people listening to the band or listening to you play don't hear you tuning up. So it's well worth getting one of those. Next, I have a compressor. What a compressor does, it compresses or squashes the sound, so all the quiet levels get brought up a little bit and all the loud levels get brought down a little bit. So no matter how hard you hit the strings or how quietly you hit the strings, the sound coming out of your amplifier is at the same level, and it's really good for playing kind of ska music, which I do, and funk music. If you want to get your funk groove on, this is it's well worth it. Next I have going into is a Tech 21 double drive. Next to it I have an Ibanez Tube Screamer. Now these two I don't use if I'm using my amplifier, which is there. If I get to a gig or a session or a festival or something and the guys are saying, no, you can't use your amp, you've got to use the ones on stage, 9 times out of 10 you'll get something which ain't very good. It's a big old pile of crap. So I use these two as opposed to using the amp's distortion. But if I'm using my amps, I don't use these at all. Sometimes I might use this just to clean up, dirty up my clean sound. But yeah, I can set these kind of to get a good overdrive sound and then hit them both together and I've got a good lead sound. So yeah, if I'm not using my amp, I'll use these two. If I am using my amp, I can take those away, but I don't usually. Next I have this spot here, position number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 is always moving around. At the moment I've got a Boss Vibratrem, which is like a tremolo pedal, which kind of makes the notes wobble up and down a little bit, which is really cool for getting kind of shimmering guitar effects. Yeah, other places for this, instead of this I might have a chorus pedal or an octave pedal, what that does is if you play one note, it'll then double the note an octave underneath or 2 octaves underneath, and it's really cool for kind of crazy Tom Morello kind of Rage Against the Machine sounds. Next last I have but by no means least, I have this, a TC Electronics delay, it's called a Nova repeater. This is probably the best 120 quid I've spent. I used to have the big green line 6 delay unit, which was almost the same size as this board, and there was too many buttons, too many things going on, and I didn't like it. So I've still got it, I just don't use it anymore. But this has got loads of different features. It's got 6 or 7 different delay types. You've got like studio delay, analog delay, a tape delay, dynamic delay, reverse delay, so it makes it sound like everything's going backwards, and a ping pong delay, which if you have a stereo sound, you have 2 cabs, you can get the delay pinging from left to right or right to left, and that's pretty cool. I don't use that because I've only got a mono cab. If you don't know what mono and stereo is, stereo you have a left and a right, and a mono you just have one channel. So yeah, the order of things, which way around each pedal goes, is quite important. A lot of people kind of just throw them all in and go any which way they want. It's very bad. Well, it's not very bad. You'll get different sounds depending on what you're after. For some reason, I always have my Crybaby in first, just because I don't want this on my board, because it just takes up too much room. It's too big. So I always go direct into that. I always go next into my tuner, just because if this was at the end of the chain, if this was up here somewhere, the sound going through all these pedals might kind of distort the tuning. It might affect the tuning somehow. It probably won't. It's probably pretty clean, but I don't want to risk it, so I always have this at the front. Compressor. Some people have this at the front. Some people have it at the end, because they'll compress. I always have it at the beginning because I compress the cleanest sound that I can, and then I add various effects onto that compressed sound. Other people do it the other way. They'll turn on all their effects and then they'll compress that overall sound. It's up to you which way you want to go. Next, I always try and have any distortion or fuzz boxes. If I didn't have this compressor, this would obviously be next in line. I'll always have my distortions quite close to the chain, the start of the chain. Then you have any kind of modulation effects. Now, a modulation effect is anything which, I don't know how to describe it, affects the sound in kind of a weird spacey way. So anything like a tremolo, a chorus, a flanger, a phaser, a pitch shifter, sorry. They'd usually come next, and then last, I always have my delay last. Without question, delay should always come last. Don't ask me why, I just do. I'd rather delay a sound which has already been compressed, distorted and tremoloed, rather than delay a sound and then distort the delay sound, if that makes sense. You always want to have, just trust me, you always want to have your delay at the end. All the pedals are powered by this. I wouldn't recommend getting this because it's cheap, it's nasty, and it keeps on breaking on me. So I'd spend, if you've got the money to spend on it, I'd spend at least 50 quid. This cost me like 20 quid, and it's rubbish. The connections here are all useless. I don't like it. I want to get a new one. So yeah, that's pedals. Amplifiers. This is my amplifier. It's a Cornford MK50. It's a 1-channel head, and you can see in there all the valves look like light bulbs, and it's a beast. It really kicks. I used to have Laney and Marshall heads. The Laneys were okay, but they weren't really the sound that I was after. But this bad boy, this is everything I ever need. If I want to do like a funk gig, I can get a really nice, bright, jangly, clean sound, stick a bit of compression, and I'm good to go. If I want, your standard kind of rock gig, it'll handle that no problem, no problemo. Fans of the In-Betweeners will know that. And if I want to do a thrash metal gig, not that many of those come along. If that did come along, I would be willing to stake my life that this would easily handle it. So yeah, if you want to splash out on a new amp, I'd always recommend going for a valve amp, just because they sound good. Yeah, I hope this helps. If you've got any questions about amplifiers or pedals or even guitars, drop me a line. Thank you very much, and I shall see you on the next one.